Today, on June 22, 2025, the world is focused on the Middle East. President Donald Trump made a very big announcement from the White House. He said that the United States military carried out strikes on important sites in Iran. This is huge news because it means America is now directly involved in trying to stop Iran's nuclear program. For a long time, there have been worries about what Iran is doing with its nuclear technology. President Trump's decision to use military force is a major change in how the United States is dealing with this problem. It is a very serious step that could lead to many different outcomes in the region. The president's words were strong and clear. Speaking to the nation, he explained that the strikes were a direct response to the ongoing threat posed by Iran's nuclear ambitions. He stated that this action was taken to protect the United States and its allies, especially Israel. This announcement marks a historic moment as the United States has now joined Israel's long-running effort to target and dismantle Iran's nuclear capabilities. The world listened carefully as President Trump warned that he would not hesitate to order more strikes if Iran continued to cause trouble or did not work toward peace in the Middle East. This really shows just how serious the situation has become. This news is important for people all over the world, not just in the United States and Iran. When two powerful countries are in a conflict like this, it can affect everyone. It can change relationships between nations, impact the global economy, and create a lot of uncertainty. The decision by the United States to take military action against another country is not a small thing. It is a choice with many possible consequences, and it is why so many people are now watching this story very closely. The events of this weekend are likely to be talked about for a very long time. The situation has been building for a while. Tensions between the United States and Iran have been high for years, with disagreements over the Iran nuclear deal and other regional issues. This military action represents a new and more dangerous chapter in their relationship. President Trump's announcement signals that diplomatic talks and sanctions were not enough in his view to solve the problem. Now, with military force being used, the rules have changed. Everyone is waiting to see how Iran will respond and what the next steps will be for the United States and its partners in the region. The American military strikes were carefully planned to hit specific places in Iran. According to officials, 3 main nuclear sites were targeted. These were the facilities at Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. These locations are very important to Iran's nuclear program. They are where Iran is believed to enrich uranium, a key material needed to build nuclear weapons. By hitting these specific sites, the United States aimed to cause major damage to Iran's ability to create such weapons. The goal was to destroy the key parts of the program and set it back by many years, making it harder for Iran to become a nuclear power. To carry out these strikes, the United States military used some of its most advanced technology and aircraft. Reports have confirmed that American B-2 stealth bombers were used in the operation. These planes are special because they are very hard for enemy radar to detect, allowing them to fly into dangerous areas without being easily seen. This was really important for a mission like this, which needed to be a surprise to be successful. The use of these high-tech bombers shows that the United States was taking this operation very seriously and wanted to make sure it was effective in hitting its targets accurately. In addition to the stealth bombers, the United States also used a very powerful type of bomb. Military sources have said that a 30,000-pound bunker buster bomb was part of the attack. This is an extremely large and heavy bomb designed to destroy targets that are buried deep underground. Many of Iran's nuclear facilities are built under mountains or thick concrete to protect them from attack. The bunker buster bomb is made to break through these defenses. This is the first time we know for sure that this specific bomb has been used in a real military operation, which shows how difficult the targets were to destroy. The operation was described by President Trump as a spectacular military success. He claimed that the strikes had completely and totally obliterated the key uranium enrichment sites in Iran. While the United States celebrated the mission's success, Iran had a different story. An official from Iran's state media said that the important nuclear materials, like enriched uranium, had been moved from those sites some time ago. He claimed that nothing was left there that could cause dangerous radiation if it was hit. This raises questions about how much damage was actually done to Iran's nuclear progress. After the strikes, leaders from the involved countries quickly shared their thoughts. President Donald Trump spoke with a lot of confidence about the military action. He called the operation a success and said that it sent a clear message to Iran. He wanted to show that the United States would not allow Iran to develop nuclear weapons. His strong words were meant to reassure Americans and their allies that he was taking decisive action to protect their security. President Trump's stance showed that his administration was willing to use significant military force to achieve its goals in the Middle East, marking a major shift in policy. In Israel, the news was received very positively. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu praised President Trump for his bold decision. For a long time, Israel has seen Iran's nuclear program as the biggest threat to its existence. Netanyahu said that history would remember President Trump for acting to stop the world's most dangerous regime from getting the world's most dangerous weapons. This shows the very close partnership between the United States and Israel on this issue. Israel has been working to stop Iran's nuclear program for years, and this direct American help is a very big deal for them. On the other side, Iran's reaction was one of anger and defiance. The Iranian government strongly condemned the American strikes. They called the military action an act of lawlessness based on the rules of the jungle. This means they believe the United States acted without any legal right and was just using its power unfairly. The Atomic Energy Organization of Iran promised that its nuclear program would not stop. They made it clear that despite the attacks, they would continue their work. This defiant statement shows that Iran is not planning to back down, which could lead to more conflict. The different reactions from these three leaders show just how divided the situation is. The United States and Israel see the strikes as a necessary step to prevent a future danger. They believe they have made the world safer. However, Iran sees the strikes as an illegal attack on its country and its right to have a nuclear program. These opposing views create a very tense and dangerous situation. What one side sees as a success, the other sees as an act of war. This deep disagreement is at the heart of the conflict and is why so many people are worried about what might happen next. The news of the United States strikes on Iran caused immediate concern around the globe. Leaders and diplomats from many countries began to speak out, with most calling for calm and a stop to the fighting. European nations in particular expressed deep worry about the situation getting worse. They've often tried to use diplomacy and talks to solve problems with Iran, and honestly, they fear that this military action could lead to a bigger war in the Middle East. These countries are urging both the United States and Iran to step back from the edge and find a peaceful way to resolve their differences before the conflict spreads. In response to the growing danger, the United States government took steps to protect its citizens in the region. The U.S. State Department started to help Americans who wanted to leave Israel get out safely. The first flights were organized from Tel Aviv to Athens, Greece, carrying about 70 U.S. citizens and their immediate family members. This evacuation really shows just how serious the threat of a wider conflict has become. The government is worried that if the fighting escalates, Americans in nearby countries could be in danger, so they're acting now to bring them to safety. Back in the United States, security agencies are also on high alert. The Department of Homeland Security, the FBI, and other law enforcement groups are closely watching for any signs of retaliation from Iran. They're monitoring intelligence for any potential threats against the U.S. homeland. This is a standard procedure whenever there's a major international conflict involving the United States, as there's always a risk that the enemy or its supporters might try to launch attacks inside the country. This really shows that the effects of the strikes are being felt not just in the Middle East, but at home as well. One piece of good news came from the region's environmental safety experts. After the strikes on the nuclear facilities, there was a worry that dangerous radioactive material could have been released into the air. However, Saudi Arabia's nuclear regulator announced that it had not detected any radioactive effects in the Gulf Arab states. This suggests that either the facilities were empty of nuclear material, as Iran claimed, or that the strikes were so precise that they did not cause a major radiation leak. This news brought some relief to neighboring countries that were worried about the health and environmental risks from the attacks. Right now, the situation in the Middle East is extremely tense, and honestly, no one knows for sure what will happen next. The United States has shown it is willing to use powerful military force against Iran, and Iran has promised that it will not back down. This creates a very dangerous standoff. The world is watching to see what Iran's response will be. Will they retaliate with their own military strikes? Will they try to attack U.S. interests or allies in the region? Or will they choose a different path? The answers to these questions will determine if this conflict gets bigger or if a way can be found to de-escalate. Many experts are worried that this could be the start of a much larger war. A direct conflict between the United States and Iran could pull in many other countries in the Middle East, creating a regional war with devastating consequences. It could also have a major impact on the global economy. especially on the price of oil, since so much of the world's oil comes from this region. Because the stakes are so high, leaders from around the world are calling for restraint. They're hoping that both sides will think carefully about their next moves and try to avoid making the situation worse. The United States and its allies must now be prepared for anything. The U.S. military in the region is on high alert, ready to defend against any possible retaliation from Iran. At the same time, diplomats will likely be working behind the scenes to try to open lines of communication and find a way out of the crisis. The goal will be to manage the situation carefully to prevent a full-scale war while still sending a strong message to Iran. It's a very difficult balancing act, and every decision made in the coming days and weeks will be incredibly important for the future of the region. Ultimately, the entire world is holding its breath. The strikes on Iran have opened a new and uncertain chapter in international relations. The path forward is filled with danger, but there's also a hope that leaders can find a way to step back from the brink. The choices made by President Trump, the leaders of Iran and other world powers will shape the future of the Middle East and beyond. For now, all we can do is watch, wait, and hope that peace can be found. This story is far from over, and its ending has not yet been written.